Now for the first guitar solo. Here I've broken it up. The first solo, I've broken it up into 10 separate parts. For part 1, we begin. What we're going to do is we're going to take our pointer finger and you're going to place it on the 10th fret of your B string. And then place your middle finger on the 11th fret of your G. Make sure that your middle finger is curved in a way so that it is not touching the string below it, your B. So like I said, the two notes that I currently have pressed down now are the 11th fret of the G and the 10th fret of the B. Now what we're going to do here to begin part 1 of the solo is I'm going to pick my G and my B strings together in an upward motion. After I pick those two notes, I'm going to slide each finger up 2 frets so that my middle finger is going to stop at the 13th fret of the G and my pointer finger is going to stop at the 12th fret of the B. So that's how it begins here. Now to play that will sound like this. After you slid up, continue to press down firmly here where my middle finger is on the 13th fret of the G and my pointer finger is on the 12th fret of the B. I'm going to pick those two notes together in an upward motion one time. It will sound like this. So far we have this played slow for part 1. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move each finger down 1 fret so that now my middle finger is on the 12th fret of the G, my pointer finger is on the 11th fret of the B. What I'm going to do here is, once again in an upward motion, I'm going to pick my B and my G strings together. After I pick them, I'm going to slide each finger up 1 fret so that I land back at the 13th fret of the G and the 12th fret of the B. So that will sound like this. So far in part 1 we have this played all together in slow. Now once I've slid up, which was the last thing that I did, currently my middle finger is on the 13th fret of the G, my pointer finger is on the 12th fret of the B. Here I'm going to pick those two notes together in a series of upstrokes. I'm going to pick them together 11 times. To do that slowly will sound like this. And that there is going to end part 1 of our solo. So to play part 1 all together in slow will sound like this. That's part 1 played slow, part 1 played in real speed. Now for part 2 of the solo, what we're going to do is you're going to place your pointer finger here on the 14th fret of your B string. Place your middle finger on the 15th fret of your G. Now what we're going to do here for part 2 is, once again, it's going to be a series of upstrokes. You're going to pick your B and your G strings together in an upward motion. After you've picked those two strings together, you're going to slide both of your fingers of your fretting hand each up 1 fret. So that your middle finger will stop at the 16th fret of your G and your pointer finger will stop at the 15th fret of your B. So to begin part 2, it will sound like this. After you've slid up, we're then going to pick these two notes together in an upward motion a total of 11 times. It will sound like this, played slow. And that's going to make up part 2 of these solos. So part 2 of the solo played together in slow will sound like this. Part 2 of the solo played in real speed. Parts 1 and 2 of the solo played together will sound like this. For part 3 of the solo, what we're going to do is you're going to come back down. You'll place your pointer finger on the 10th fret of your B string. Place your middle finger on the 11th fret of your G. We're going to pick those two notes together in an upward motion. And after we've picked them, you're going to slide each finger up 2 frets so that your pointer finger is on the 12th fret of the B and your middle finger is on the 13th fret of your G. To begin part 3 of the solo, it will sound like this. After you've slid up, you're then going to pick these two notes in an upward motion together 11 times. It will sound like this, played slow. And that will make up part 3 of the solo. Part 3 of the solo played together in slow will sound like this. Part 3 of the solo played in real speed. Here's parts 1 through 3 so far in real speed. So that's parts 1 through 3 played in real speed. Now for part 4 here of the solo, what we're going to do is before we pick any notes, you want to take your pointer finger and you want to lay it flat against the neck of the guitar here at your 12th fret so that you're firmly pressing down on the B and the high E strings here at the 12th fret. Now I kind of slant my finger a little bit so that I can play these bends that are played around these 2 notes here. So like I said, before you pick a note, you want to make sure that your pointer finger here is laid flat against the neck so that you're firmly pressing down on the B and the high E here at the 12th fret. I've got those 2 notes pressed down firmly. Now what I'm going to do here to begin part 4 is I'm going to place my middle finger on the 14th fret of the G. To begin part 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the G string 1 time. After I pick it, I'm going to bend that note up a half a step. It will sound like this. Then following that, I'm going to pick the B string 12th fret. Then I'm going to pick the high E string 12th fret. So far in part 4 we have this played slow. Following that, what we're going to do is this. Then you're going to take your ring finger. Once again, like I said, leave your pointer finger there throughout this first part. So far we have this. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to place your ring finger on the 15th fret of your B string. Pick that note, the B string 1 time. After you pick it, bend that up just barely. You're going to bend it up a quarter of a step. After you've done that, then you're going to pick the high E string first, the 12th fret. Then pick the B string 12th fret. So far we have this played slow. Then once again, place your ring finger on the 15th fret of your B, pick that note and bend it up just a quarter of a step. Then you're going to play the 12th fret of your high E, then play the 12th fret of your B. So far, all together in part 4, we have this played slow. Following that, you're going to place your ring finger on the 15th fret of your high E string. You still have your pointer finger pressing down firmly on those 2 notes barred there. The next thing we're going to do is you're going to play the 15th fret of your high E with your ring finger. Then pick your ring finger up and play the 12th fret of your high E. Then play the 12th fret of your B string. That's going to end part 4. Part 4 played all together in slow will sound and look like this. That's part 4 played slow. That's part 4 played slow. To pick up the pace a little bit here in part 4, we have this. Part 4 played in real speed. So that's part 4 played in real speed. We move into part 5 here. What we're going to do is this. Continue to have your pointer finger laid flat against the neck so that you're firmly pressing down at the 12th fret across your B and your high E strings. In part 5, we begin by placing our middle finger on the 14th fret of our G. Pick that note and bend it up a half a step. Then you're going to, once again, you're going to play the 12th fret of your B first. Then play the 12th fret of your high E. So far here in part 5 we have this. And then following that, what you're going to do is you're going to place your ring finger on the 15th fret of your B string. You're going to pick that note 1 time. Then what you want to do is you want to place your middle finger on the 14th fret of your G. Now what I'm going to do here is this. I'm going to pick my G and my B strings together. The two notes that I'll be picking here will be the 14th fret of the G and then the 15th fret of the B. After I pick those two notes, I'm going to push my middle finger up the neck a full step. It will sound like this. So right here in part 5 we have this played slow. Okay, and then following that, what we're going to do is this. The last thing we did was we played the 15th and the 14th frets together, the 15th fret of the B and the 14th fret of the G. I picked those notes and bent the 14th fret up. After I've done that, I'm going to play with my middle finger the 14th fret of the G one time. Then place your pointer finger on the 12th fret of the G, play it once. Then place your ring finger on the 14th fret of your D, play that note one time. And then you're going to play the 12th fret of the G with your pointer finger. After you play it with a vibrato. And that will end part 5. Part 5 played all together in slow will look and sound like this. Part 5, I played a little faster, not quite at real speed. We have this. Part 5 played in real speed. And now that's part 5 played in real speed. Now before we go any further, I'd like to say this. Think of this first solo, see it as in 3 different phases. The first phase is going to be parts 1 through 3. I played those in real speed. Now the second phase is going to be parts 4 through 7 here. Now we went over parts 4 and 5. Now they kind of tie in together. So before I move on to part 6, I want to play parts 4 and 5 together slowly, and then I'm going to play them in real speed so that you see how they tie in together. So parts 4 and 5 played together in slow will sound like this. So that's parts 4 and 5 played together slow. As you can see, they go hand in hand with one another. Parts 4 and 5 played together in real speed will sound like this. Now for part 6, what we're going to do here is we're going to place our ring finger on the 14th fret of our G. It might help you to place your middle finger on the 13th fret and your pointer finger on the 12th fret. I'll be using my middle finger, my pointer finger to help me push my ring finger up the neck. Now for part 6 here, like I said, my ring finger's on the 14th fret of the G. I'm going to pick that note, I'm going to pick the G string, and after I pick it, I'm going to bend the note up a full step. It will sound like this. And now what I'm going to do here to begin part 6 is I'm just going to do that 4 times. So that's going to sound like this played slow. Okay, so that's how part 6 here begins. It begins by us bending up the 14th fret of the G 4 times, a full step. Now after you've bent it up the 4th time, you're then going to play the 14th fret 1 time. Then play the 12th fret of the G with your pointer finger 1 time. Then place your ring finger on the 14th fret of your D, play that 1 time. And then you're going to play the 12th fret of your G 1 time, this time play it with the vibrato. And that will end part 6. So part 6 of our solo here played together in slow will sound like this. Part 6 played in real speed. So that's part 6 played in real speed. Here I'm going to play parts 4, 5, and 6 together slow and then in real speed. So 4, 5, and 6 played slow will sound like this. So that's 4, 5, and 6 played together slow, 4, 5, and 6 played together in real speed. So that's parts 4 through 6 played together in real speed. Now here in part 7, what we're going to do is you're going to place your ring finger on the 14th fret of your D string. Pick that note one time to begin part 7. Then you're going to place your pointer finger on the 12th fret of your D string. Pick that note one time. Then place your ring finger on the 14th fret of your A string. Pick that note once. So far in part 7 we had this played slow. And then you're going to play the 12th fret of your D with the vibrato. So we've got this so far in part 7 played slow. And then what we're going to do here is you're going to take your pointer finger, once again lay it flat against the neck of the guitar so that you firmly press down on your B and your high E strings here at the 12th fret. What you want to do is we're first going to place your middle finger on the 14th fret of your G, pick that note and bend it up a half a step, and then you're going to play the 12th fret of your B, then play the 12th fret of your high E. So far, all together in part 7 we have this played slow. And then following that, what we're going to do, you want to place your ring finger on the 14th fret of your G and also place your pointer finger on the 12th fret of your G as well. I've got those two notes pressed down firmly right now. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do first, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the G string one time. After I've picked it, I'm going to bend the note up a half a step, continue to press down firmly, bring it down, and then pull my ring finger off so that the 12th fret is exposed. So that'll sound like this played slow. And looking at that from this angle here, you've got this. So like I said, I only picked that G one time. I bent it up, brought it back down, then pulled off. And after we've done that, that's going to end part 7. Part 7 played all together and slow will sound like this. Part 7 played in real speed. So that's part 7 there, played in real speed. Now I want to play parts 4 through 7 all together in slow. And that's going to sound like this. So that's parts 4 through 7 played slow. Now here's parts 4 through 7 played in real speed. So that's parts 4 through 7 played together in real speed. Now for part 8, what we're going to do is it begins with this real cool slide. What we're going to do is you're going to place your ring finger on the 14th fret of your G. And what we're going to do is I'm going to say it first. I'm going to pick the G one time where my ring finger is. After I've picked it, I'm going to continue to press down firmly. I'm going to slide my ring finger all the way down the neck of the guitar to the 2nd fret. And once I get to the 2nd fret, I'm going to pull that note down, continue to press down firmly, bring it back up, and then pull off. So that's what's going to happen here to begin part 8. To do that slowly, it will sound like this. Looking at that from this angle here, we've got this. So that's how part 8 begins. After we've done that, you're going to place either your ring finger or your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your D. You're going to pick that note and play a vibrato with it. So we've got this for part 8 so far, played slow. Then following that, you're going to place your pinky on the 3rd fret of your low E, pick that note one time, pick the open A, then pick the 1st fret of the A, then pick the 2nd fret of the A string. So we've got this so far for part 8 all together played slow. After you've picked the second fret of the A, form your B7 chord, and you're going to strum that chord a couple of times, strum it up, down, and then up. So we have this for part 8 all together. After you've strummed the B7 chord, what you're going to do then is, whenever we form the B7, our pinky's on the second fret of the high E. Now to end the part 8 here, you're going to pick the high E second fret where your pinky is. Then you're going to continue to press down firmly. After you've picked it, you're going to slide that all the way up the neck of the guitar, somewhere around the 12th fret. Then continue to press down firmly and slide all the way back down. It'll sound something like this played slow. And that will end part 8. So part 8 played all together and slow will sound like this. So that's part 8 there. Part 8 played in real speed. So that's part 8 played in real speed. Now I'm fixing to move into part 9. Now remember I said earlier that this solo seems, it has different phases in it. Parts 1 through 3 seem as if they belong together. Parts 4 through 7 seem as if they belong together. And then we're going to find that parts 8, 9, and 10, they seem as if they belong together. Now the definition of a phrase of notes is a group of notes that seems as if they belong together. So either you can think of this as 3 different phrases or 3 different phases. It's all the same to me. So I played parts 4 through 7 in real speed together. I just played part 8 in real speed by itself. And now I'm fixing to show you how to play part 9 and 10, and then I'll play those 3 parts together in real speed. And then I'm going to go back and play the entire solo. So we're moving in now to part 9, and on part 9 here what we're going to do is it begins by picking our bottom 2 strings in an upward motion open. And then following that, you're going to take your pointer finger and lay it flat against the neck of the guitar so that you firmly press down on your B and your high E strings here at the 3rd fret. Pick your B and your high E string together. After you've done that, pull your finger off both notes. It will sound like this. Looking at that from this angle, it looks like this. And everything we have so far here in part 9 looks like this. Then after we've pulled our pointer finger off of those 2 notes, what we're then going to do is you're going to place your middle finger on the 3rd fret of your G. Now I'm first going to say what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the G string one time. After I've picked it, I'm going to slide my middle finger down to the 2nd fret, and then I'm going to pull my middle finger off. After I've pulled it off, without picking that string again, I'm going to hammer back onto the 2nd fret, pull the note down a half a step, bring it back up, and then pull off again. So that's gonna look and sound like this played slow. Looking at that from here, looks like this. So far here in part 9 we have this played slow. Following that, you're going to place your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your D. You're going to pick that note and play a vibrato there. So we have this so far in part 9 played slow. And then following that, you're going to play your G and your B strings together open. Then place your pointer finger on the 1st fret of your B and your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your G. Pick those 2 notes and slide each finger up 2 frets. Will sound like this. Once you've slid up, pick them in a downward motion. These 2 notes, the 4th fret of the G and the 3rd fret of the B, pick them together 5 times. And that's going to end part 9 here. So part 9 played all together in slow. Part 9 played in real speed. Parts 8 and 9 played together in real speed. So that's parts 8 and 9 played together. And then for the 10th and final part of this first solo, we're going to place our middle finger on the 2nd fret of our G, pick it, and then pull off. Then you're going to place your ring finger on the 2nd fret of your D, play that note one time. And then place your middle finger on the 2nd fret of your A and play it one time. So in part 10, we have this played slow. Then you're going to play your bottom 3 strings open in an upward motion. And then what we're going to do next is you're going to place your middle finger on the 3rd fret of your A, place your pointer finger on the 2nd fret of your D, and place your ring finger on the 3rd fret of your G string. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick those 3 notes, our A through our G in a downward motion. Then move that shape down 1 fret so that now your middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the A, your pointer finger is on the 1st fret of the D, and your ring finger is on the 2nd fret of the G. Play those 3 notes in a downward motion one time. And then play those 3 notes down one more time. And that will end part 10, and that's going to end the first solo. Part 10 played all together in slow. Part 10 played in real speed. So that's part 10. Parts 8 through 10 played together in real speed. We have this. So that right there is parts 8 through 10. That completes our solo. Here I want to play parts 1 through 10 of the solo all together in slow first, and then I'll play it in real speed. Parts 1 through 10 played together in slow will sound like this. So that's parts 1 through 10 played slow. Parts 1 through 10 played in real speed. So that's the first solo played in real speed.